So I only need ramzas 35 and 15.
Flames a fuel source, and it's revealed to be a fragment of Lavos. When you and your dad crashed into the Dead Sea, they ended up here. Normally, it's impossible for anyone to get into Chronopolis, but the storm caused
When
a
the character
power
boards
outage,
come, I
making the
need the
entire
full
main
gear.
facility accessible. You came in contact with the frozen flame, which heals your wounds, but a security system called the Prometheus Circuit unlocked the room the frozen flame was being kept in, and only someone with your DNA can get inside the room. Also, being exposed to the frozen flame gave you immunity to fate's control, meaning that you are essentially the only one with free will in
I
all
have
of
no interest in Zack. That's
Under
Power
fate's
Stone. No
control, you're
interest.
supposed to die, but because you now have free will, in your home dimension, you don't. And it splits the timeline in two. You go into the room with the frozen flame, but Linux in your body is already in there. He then reveals that he's not actually a Catman at all, but that he is Fate. You and Fate have an epic battle where you kill Fate once and for all, theoretically giving everyone free will. Kid, who is following along with the fake protagonist, then tries to obtain the frozen flame, but Harley comes and takes it first. The six dragons then realize that Fate has been destroyed and decide that they want to try and take control of OMNIA. Harley is revealed to be the seventh dragon, and then all the dragons fuse together to create the Dragon God. The dragons are from an alternate dimension where the reptiles win the war against humans in prehistory and become the dominant species on the planet. Balthazar wasn't the only one who tried to go back to the past to create a perfect society. His counterpart from the reptile dimension also had the same idea, so they both went back in time to try and create a perfect society, which led to a war between Balthazar and the dragons. Balthazar won the war, and the dragons became under the control of Fate. Now that Fate doesn't exist anymore, the dragons are now trying to control the land. I know that's a lot to take in, but if you've wrapped your head around all that, you've understood the most complex part of the plot. Chronopolis then self-destructs. You wake up a few days later on one of your party members' ships. A kid is still in a coma. Just like in the beginning of the game, you can leave her in bed and go to the final dungeon. But again, if you have any kind of soul, you're going to want to save her. With the help of Masa and Moon from Trigger, you go into Kid's psyche to the night that Luca's house was burnt down. It's here that Gato makes an appearance, and we see crude drawings of Colonel and Marley that presumably Kid drew, confirming that she did at one time know them. After saving Kid from the fire, the protagonist and her have an emotional moment outside. And then, Kid wakes up from her coma. If you've been paying attention to what the NPCs have been telling you, it's at this point you're going to want to do the side quest to get the Chrono Cross. It is technically optional, though. It is said that the Chrono Cross has the ability to merge dimensions. With or without the Chrono Cross, you go through the final dungeon and kill the Dragon God. The game isn't over at this point, though, because Balthazar tells you that Lavos has merged with Shala from Chrono Trigger and is going to destroy the world from the space in between the two dimensions. Ghosts of Chrono, Marley, and Luca show up before fighting Lavos for one last plot dump. It turns out that Fate became Linux by fusing your dad and the panther that attacked you as a kid. Luca's ghost tells you the story of the Kingdom of Zeal, which you already knew if you had played Trigger. She also says that Kid is actually a clone of Shala that she sent into the world to try and save herself from Lavos. You then travel to the space in between dimensions, and here, one or two things can happen. You either brute force the final boss, or you can use the Chrono Cross to merge the dimensions back together. Using the Chrono Cross is a
I have
simple
no
enough
interest in
process to
Jack. I'm
execute.
dodging him
Every
every
time
time I
you
see
use
him.
an element, a musical note is played depending on what type the element was. To use the Chrono Cross, you need to play the theme song of the game with those notes. The vocals on this song are the correct melody. If you brute force them, the game just cuts to credits. But if you manage to use the Chrono Cross, you get a monologue from Shala, which tells you that all the memories of your adventure will be lost. The dimensions are going to merge together, and it will be like nothing ever happened. The game then flashes forward to a letter Kid wrote, and then the game shows a wedding picture of the protagonist and Kid. The credits roll with a video of a real-life woman dressed up as Kid, wandering around various real-life locations playing in the corner. Finally, the last shot of the game shows Kid on a beach wearing a wedding dress. Masato Kato is a man who revels in the amusements and satisfactions of the unexpected. Everything that Chrono Trigger stood for, that you have hope for the future and have the ability to shape it, is challenged in one way or another by the theming of Cross. One might even say that Cross is a complete, broad teardown of everything that happens in the first game. To give some specific quantifiable examples, the Masamune, the blade of the legendary hero in historic times, is now a blade of evil that corrupts the hearts and minds of whoever controls it. We see this in action in both dimensions. Radius picks up the sword, and in a fit of pure jealous evil, he murders his comrade in cold blood. Dario, the victim in this dimension, was the aggressor on another. He picks up the sword, but is fought off by Karsh. It is only when fundamentally transformed beyond all recognition that the Masamune's evil becomes contained. Every playable character from Chrono Trigger is dead. Isla and Frog because the game takes place well after their natural lives. Robo because he never existed in the new future created by defeating Lavos. Luca was killed in a misguided attempt to regain entrance to the Frozen Flame. Chrono and Marley presumably died protecting the kingdom of Guardia, which has, without a doubt, been conquered by Tor. The art style Trigger was known for isn't even attempted to be emulated without Toriyama. They scrapped the active time battle system. No more fighting on the screen. Cross feels very much like a game that they started from scratch instead of continuing on from the legacy. Everything
I
you do in Chrono
I
Trigger
don't
the
want him,
apocalyptic future still exists in Cross.
but
They didn't actually erase it from
I'll
existence.
I'll keep
They
his
just carried it
EX
inside. In
for a
reality,
book
Chrono Cross was
and an
never
ingot.
to its legacy. By doing something completely different, by undoing, by ripping open and crushing the remnants of a happy ending at the end of Trigger, Cross sets itself up to be a more mature and darker sequel. In addition, tearing down the events of the previous game allows the game to not pick a specific canon ending to trigger. If details like what happened to Chrono and Marley are left ambiguous, then it doesn't really matter what ending variant is the true canonical experience. Cross is remarkable in its ability to validate everyone who played the original's experience, while at the same time telling them that everything that they knew was a lie. At times, this is one of those games with a message, if you know what I mean. Chrono Cross is a very special episode in the conflicts between humankind, animals, nature, and robots. It's a game about how mankind needs to get over its violent urges or face mass peril. Let's talk about the dwarves and a nasty decision the game forces you to make. In order to save Kid from poison towards the start of the game, you need to kill this beast called a Hydra in a forest. You go there, and by talking to the dwarves, they make two things bombastically clear. First, that he's the only Hydra left in existence, and second, that if you kill this beast, then the forest will become uninhabitable for them. In order to save this stubborn girl that you just met, you need to knowingly destroy this entire ecosystem. And what makes things worse is that the game doesn't tell you any of this when making the decision. Your path is determined by a dialogue choice you make at her bedside. And the game obviously pushes you towards saving her. Once you agree to help, you're locked onto the warpath. Later on, the situation gets even worse. By killing the Hydra, you drove the dwarves out of their homeland. And they take their pent-up rage and decide to go on a mass genocide of the fairy population so that they can conquer Water Dragon Island. It's a disaster. You stop the dwarves before they can murder all the fairies, but the damage
Already got her EX. Already got his EX maxed out. So that's Power Stone.
save this one girl that you just met. Chrono Trigger has a quest where you selflessly replant a forest, and it results in saving Luca's mom. Cross is a quest where you destroy a forest to selfishly save your new girlfriend. I almost forgot to mention when writing this. In order to get the blessing of the Green Dragon late in the game requires you to kill everything in another forest. So yeah, that's 2 forests destroyed in the name of humanity. Every ethnic group in the game hates humans as a blanket rule, and it's easy to see why. There's a class of people in this game called demi-humans, and it's never really explained what they're supposed to be. They could be evolutionary reptiles. They could be Balthazar's own creations. But I theorize that there's some sort of half-breed of humans and the mystics from the Medina continent in Trigger. The demi-humans are obvious second-class citizens. They're not allowed to live in human villages and have instead been ghettoized into living in the shanty towns of Goldone and Marble. Some of them are kept as slave labor aboard a casino cruise ship. It's all an obvious damning statement on racism. If you'll allow me to talk about the dwarves again, they're outcasted too, outside the overture window that even the second-class citizens will accept them. As a result, they are forced to live by themselves in this forest. But it turns out they're evil monsters because when they're forced to move, their answer is to kill all of the fairies. Is the racism somehow justified in this case?
Need that 35.
And this is a complex can of worms.
Oh my goodness.
Further, but the fact that this game can even incite that question is astounding. In Chrono Trigger, we witness the fall of the Kingdom of Zeal. And that's the plot line from the last game that gets carried over into this one the most. Zeal was the most mythical and advanced civilization in history. They had advanced so much that their towns were literally not even on the planet anymore. They were on floating islands. This works in a few ways. First, in the literal sense that they have ascended, or risen above and beyond normal human capabilities. Second, it shows that they aren't one with the planet anymore. The people of Zeal aren't exactly keen on environmentalism. You need to convince a woman not to destroy a simple seed because the powers that be wish it to be done. The story arc is about this magic race of humans abandoning the natural resource of their power in the Sunstone in favor of the unnatural power of Lavos. They turn their backs on the planet and suffer major consequences because of it. Chrono Trigger is often read as a biblical allegory. The three wise men and the three gurus share names, the entity from the campfire scene being God, and Chrono being Jesus. Think that's a stretch? Well, how else would he have been able to feed the entire Guardia army with a single piece of jerky? The Zeal Society broke the second commandment by accepting the false god of Lavos. In Cross, Fate tried to roleplay as a god. The dragons fused together to become a god. But in the end, they all bend the knee to the notion of God and free will. Cross is definitive in its assertion that free will is a product of the soul. To put it another way, controlling people's lives is wrong and results in Lavos becoming a demon that eats timelines. Humans make the wrong choices routinely in regards to the planet. But they need to rein that in by themselves. No god will do that for them. When you reach the end of the Dead Sea, you fight this man named Midgul. There's no build-up. He's not ever in the game again, but he still manages to be one of the most memorable characters. That's because Midgul is the prophet of nihilism. Nothing matters because we are all prisoners of fate. He likens life to a grand game of the gods and goddesses, a game where people put their lives on the line without knowing all the rules. In Midgul's mind, people are pawns, and the only way to win the game as a pawn is to leave the board. From a purely plot perspective, I don't understand why you and he had to fight, but looking at it from this context, it's a battle between free will and nihilism. The sequence leading up to Nadia's bell is one of the wholly representative sequences in the game. You, still in the body of Linux, approaches the bell from the first game and gets chastised for doing something that you haven't even done yet. If one part of the game embodies the entire work, it's this part. If Chrono Trigger is hopeful and bright, Chrono Cross breaks the light bulb. At its heart, underneath the philosophical tapestry, Chrono Cross is a simple MacGuffin plot. Everybody wants the frozen flame. It's not completely explained what the frozen flame is, but most
Jesus.
piece together that it's a shard of
I just
lava
won
that
35.
crashed into Earth in prehistory. I disagree. The speculation seems to be mostly conjecture, so I'm going to conjure that it's from when Chrono and friends destroyed him in 1999. It seems more likely that Balthazar would have access to something that's 300 years old, as opposed to something that's 65 million years old. It would also explain its absence from Trigger. As for the practical things that it does, Balthazar created the entire game world using the frozen flame. It saves you from death, and it also allows you to escape the control of fate. It's not even about what the thing does or where it came from, at least not in this game. This is going to be one of two times that I mention Radical Dreamers. Mostly because Cross goes out of its way to scream that Dreamers isn't canon. The frozen flame and cross is more like the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. We don't ever see it do much of anything, yet the game propels itself around it. It's featured much more extensively in Dreamers, and honestly, I prefer how it looks now.
Okay, I'm stopping.
Cross, the frozen flame looks like cheap CGI.
Saving my tickets for Lena and Sulfur.
Dances like a true flame. Have you noticed that this game has a lot of things merging together? Kid and Shala merge in the ending. Shala and Lavos merge before the game starts. The six dragons merge together. The Tears of Love and Hate merge together. The two alternate dimensions merge. And Masa and Moon merge. There's one last big merger that goes completely unnoticed by fans. Let's talk about the quote-unquote bad ending. If you fight Lavos like a normal boss and don't use the Chrono Cross, the game just cuts to credits. So what do we think actually happens if you do that? If you've been paying attention to the game, I don't even think that it's much of a mystery. You, the protagonist, merges with Lavos to create a super being that ends time. Why else would the ghosts of Chrono, Marley, and Luca be pissed off at you at Nadia's Bell? Are they going to be pissed off at you for having free will and splitting the timeline? No. They're mad at you that you undid all their shit. The only way that you being alive undid everything that they did is if you being alive somehow contributes to them not destroying Lavos. More so than in Chrono Trigger, the protagonist in Cross is a vehicle for the player. We see this in the ending video where Kid breaks out of the fourth wall and begins searching for the player in the real world. Shala in her ending speech addresses the person holding the controller, not the protagonist. You spend the entire game being thrown around by entities that you don't understand. Fate on one side, the dragons on another, and an incarnation of the void at the bottom. You receive no explanation why until the last quarter of the game. The protagonist can't save the world from Fate, the dragon god, or Lavos until he asserts his own existence. If you brute force Lavos, then the world was right. You really were just a dead man walking. This game has 45 playable characters. I am not going to talk about all of them. In fact, I'm only going to talk about 4. The protagonist, Kid, Harley, and Linux. You might have noticed by now that I haven't referred to the protagonist by his canonical name. That's just for the simple fact that I named him something different. Having canon names for silent protagonists is lame anyway, if you ask me. I do, however, refer to Chrono by his name, because he isn't the protagonist or silent in this game. If you want to get nitpicky, he's technically not silent in Trigger either. He has exactly 2 lines in the ending where Marley and Luca rate various men of the game in terms of attractiveness. Chrono Cross bluntly asks the question, what would happen if I didn't exist? There's something poignant resting with the fact that the dimension that you died in is somehow better off without you. For one, the world doesn't get destroyed in 2300, and the Dead Sea doesn't exist. There's no slavery. Only your homeworld is the casino cruise ship. Marble isn't haunted by ghosts. Poor hasn't yet taken control of the islands. This is a game that flat out tells you that the world would be better off if you had died. The protagonist needs to literally figure out what his purpose is in a world that he doesn't belong in. He was supposed to die, and as a result, the world wants him dead. Throughout the game, you make a lot of friends. Sure, most of them are 1 note, and even more of them are 0 note, but there's no shortage of companionship. There are multiple times throughout the story where the protagonist has no obvious motivation, but one of his friends might. By helping your friends,
Load.
swapping bodies with Linux is
Come on now, load.
the greatest moment of the game. After the swap, you go from a man who doesn't belong in the world to a man who doesn't belong in his own skin. Linux is the only party member
Load.
able to name. Linux is Linux. He is not a stand-in for you. He is not privy to the whims of the player. Trigger takes the protagonist away as well.
Okay.
And it's at least as effective here. You spend about a third of the game playing as Linux. It's not a small part that you can just undo in the next side quest. As you find out your identity in the context of the 2 dimensions, you eventually are reborn as yourself. You never technically get your former skin back, as the FMV shows
Load.
replaced. I wouldn't be doing my job in analyzing this game if I didn't bring up a certain letter Kid received.
You see this?
Late in the game. Luca predicts that Magus from the first game would find and protect her. So does this mean that the protagonist is Magus? Nobody knows. Luca doesn't need to be correct about everything, and I choose to believe that he isn't. If we're allowed to bring radical dreamers into the canon, then he decidedly isn't. Not everybody needs to be somebody else. The protagonist is just that, the protagonist. Going from a silent protagonist to the opposite of that, Kid is, to use the game's vernacular, Shala's clone daughter. At some point, either before or after her fusion with Lavos, Shala asexually created a baby with her own DNA and sent her to 1000-ish AD, where Luca found her and raised her as a daughter. Kid is anything but silent, and she's obviously the second most important good guy, as it were. But you can play the game in a way that she's almost never relevant. You can never take the protagonist out of the party. But Kid, I believe, is only required to be in your party, or even be one of the available party members for a small stretch of game. That stretch being from when she saves you from the goons at your grave up until the end of Viper Manor. After this, you can leave her for death. She'll survive and reappear just in time for you to swap bodies and lose all your party members. After that, the next time she's available is after you kill Fate, and even then you need to do a side quest to recruit her.
I will record the chaos fight separately.